Well, good morning there, YouTubers. Good to see you. Good to see you once again. And good morning, family and friends of YouTube. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. We're going to get this party started with a little bit of Intel news, just to let you know. We're going to do a little bit of Intel news. Um, it will be exciting. So let's get this B-roll started, and we'll see you on the other side right here on JC's PC Builds. And welcome back. Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, we're going to get this breakfast started this morning with a little bit of news. I bet you it's not a little bit of news because everybody probably knows about it. But I'm going to get my hands in it and let you all know about the Intel 13th Gen Raptor Lake CPU that's going to be utilizing the hybrid core design, featuring a mix of performance, a little bit of here and a little bit of there, optimizing P and E core efficiencies for the new chip. And Intel will be using brand new P core known as the Raptor Cove, and which will replace the Golden Cove cores featured on the Alder Lake CPUs. For the E cores, Intel will retain the existing Gracemont core architecture, but it will be with minor improvements following some main changes that you might expect. So the Intel 13th Gen Raptor Lake desktop CPU. Here comes the expected features, up to 24 cores and 32 threads. Okay, so 24 core and 32 threads. You notice they didn't split it and say P core and E core. that right there, that's like confusing. Why would they want performance core and efficiency core? Okay. It'd just be better just to say the cores and threads. That's what AMD does. They just say cores and threads. I mean, why confuse the consumer when they're been so used to years between cores and threads? So, Intel, don't change that. Just keep it cores and threads. We don't need performance cores and efficiency cores. Everybody knows that the threads are going to be efficiency cores, and everybody knows the cores are going to be performance cores. So there's no sense of mixing the goose with the gander. Okay, so you get the brand new Cove CPU cores. That's going to be something new. You get, based on the 10 nanometer ESF Intel 7 processed node. It's kind of confusing a little bit, but up to 6 gigahertz clock speeds. Now, it says up to. That doesn't mean that it's, when they say up to, it doesn't mean that it's clocked to starting at 6 gigahertz. Okay, now if Intel was going to do something like that, Intel, listen up. If you're going to do a 6 gigahertz processor, start it out at the base 6 gigahertz and have it to where it clocks up to 8.8 gigahertz. That would be the smart thing to do. Just to say, if you're going to do something new and want to attract some business, tell everybody, hey, we got a new CPU. It's gonna, base clock is gonna start out at 6 gigahertz, and it's gonna boost up to 8.8 gigahertz. That would be something new. You want to stay ahead of the times. That's staying ahead of the times. but it's supposed to have up to 41% multi-threading performance, up to 15% single thread performance, and it's supposed to have double the E-core variant. And let's see, increased cache for both P-core and E-core. You never know. I mean, if they're increasing the cache A, I mean, what's there to really increase? I mean, you're taking part of a cache that. I'd like to see, like they do with the iGPUs, is take and for the processor cache, take a part of the random access memory that's already on the motherboard and implement that into a part of the cache, so you double up on your cache. Even though that, there's not much used for your random access memory. Okay, there is not much used for the random access memory except for hungry, power sucking programs. Especially when you're putting 32 gigs and you're putting 64 gigs and 128 gigs of RAM in your computer, and now it's going up to like 8,000 microtransfers of, RAM. I mean, why couldn't they use a little sliver of it just for the processor itself? Since it already shares, memory with the whole motherboard, why couldn't it share just a little bit of piece of the RAM to upscale the processor itself? I mean, just one lane, just to upscale the processor, to give it more boost, to enhance those features and everything else. It's just something that comes into my mind. But I'm sure one day they'll figure that out, that they can use part of that in, program part of that, and just have a single lane going for, from the random access memory to the processor, to boost up the processor, to give it more oomph. One day they'll figure that out. But anyway, so they're going to increase caches of both P-core and E-cores. So, it might be something interesting here. So, supported by the existing LGA 1700 motherboards. So, that's even a good thing. I mean, you got the new Z790, the H770, and the B760 motherboards it'll support. Remember what Intel did was they said you can run DDR4 and DDR5 memory. You can use either or, So if you want to run, and you want to stay, let's say you want to stay DDR4, you can run this chip with a DDR4 motherboard. So that's the good thing about this. It's got up to 28 PCIe lanes. It's PCIe Gen 4 and Gen 3. So that means you can do Gen 4 plus Gen 3. And it's got 28 lanes of CPU Gen 5 X16 plus Gen 4 X12. That's not too bad. Dual channel DDR5 5600 memory support. That's baseline. They're given baseline. So if you do DDR4, it's going to be 3200, and if you do DDR5, it's going to be 5600 baseline. So it's got 20 PCIe Gen 5 lanes times 4 reserved for PCH, enhanced overclock features, 125 watts, TDP, baseline, and it goes up to 253 watts TDP. It's AI PCIe M.2 technology. So most of your motherboards now these days got M.2 technology, so it's nothing new. And it was supposed to be launched in October of 2022. But that's what they say. But it's supposed to be 2023. So you're looking at the Intel 13900KS. It's a little bit of an upgrade from the 1309K. Just to let you know that. And there it is. A little bit of Intel news for your breakfast. So, if you like my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. It'd get us up to 1,000 subscribers, where we're working for. We're at 35. We're working our way up. We're getting there slowly, but we'd like to get there sooner or later. And 4,000 watch hours. This is what's required by YouTube. So we're trying to meet the requirements and do our best on these videos. So if you're liking the videos, make sure you subscribe. That is the most important. But until the next time, this is JJ, your boy. We will see you on the next one.